I don't even know if God exists. How do I even know he's real? How do I know who God is? How can I be certain that he exists? This is a question that I wrestled with growing up. I would say that I was saved as a kid. I said the prayer, but for my entire childhood, all the way up through high school, I didn't necessarily care about God, care about if Jesus was leading me, where he was leading me, even though I may have been a believer. At the time, I had a girlfriend, and we were doing things we shouldn't have been doing, but then I was trying to read my Bible and pray. Then I got into college, and friends would go out drinking and partying, and I would go out with them, but then I would try to go to youth group and go to church. And so it was a constant struggle of I'm trying to follow Jesus, but I keep failing. And it felt like a continuous cycle of never being able to fully commit to Jesus. That continued all the way up until I met the missionaries at Johnson County. I come to a point where I'm at JUCO. I'm kind of looking for myself. I'm kind of, am I gonna be a follower of Jesus or am I not? And I'm sitting there by myself, and this dude walks over and he sits next to me, and he just starts talking to me, like asking me all these really personal questions. I'm like, this is weird. Turns out he's a college campus missionary, and he invites me over to his house. And I was like, okay, I'm a Christian. I'm gonna go. And throughout the next about year and a half, these 4 missionaries, they brought me in as a friend, and they really showed me what it was to love, and what it was to be disciplined, and what it was to really be discipled, to really grow spiritually. And they led me by example. At this time, for me, I had just broken up with a girlfriend, and so things were still kind of slippery for me as a young man. And so I was growing a lot, but there was still a temptation to fall back, still a temptation to go back to the way that it was before, until eventually they invited me on a retreat. And I remember going and being there thinking, God, I can't do this. I can't do it on my own. I keep going back. It's a back and forth, back and forth. What is it in me that is preventing me from being all in all the time? And that was the moment that I was just literally crying out to God, like, God, I need you. God, I need you. Holy Spirit, I need you. God, I need you. Over and over. Like, that's pretty much all I knew how to pray. And then it ended. They prayed to close it, and everybody left. And I was left alone in the room. I stayed with my hands raised, my eyes closed, singing, alone, with no music. I had never really experienced God in that way. And that was the shifting point in my life and in my spiritual growth. But from that moment on, I've never looked back. I still felt like the same person, but a new want for God had awoken. So really the main thing that changed, I didn't really feel any different, but it was actually just something in my mind that I knew I had to take steps. I knew the next step I had to take was get involved with the church. And so I had some friends who posted online about Life Mission Church, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Life Mission Church. And so I got plugged in with Life Mission Church, and then I was like, okay, I'm at church, I'm in a community of young adults, I need to start serving. And so I started serving at Vertical, and what would you know, eventually Brandon asks me to do the Life Ministry Academy. And so my story has been just step, next step, growing, learning what it looks like to follow Jesus. If you're watching this video, what I would say to you is following Jesus isn't a one and done magic trick, now I'm fixed. It's a long process of learning and growing and probably failing, most likely failing, but getting back up by the grace of God and continuing. Being around people who are going to push you, who are going to stretch you, and who are going to teach you. And taking your next step, wherever you're at. Even if you fail one day, the next day you get up and you take your next step. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be long, but it's going to be incredible. And that's how Jesus changed my life.